Hey there, welcome to CNT Collectibles. I am C. Hope you're doing very, very well. Welcome to your Friday Sports Card Chart Blast, where we look at the price action of our favorite collectibles. Price is truth. Price is truth. Price is truth. Got that. So it doesn't matter what the fundamentals are. No one cares what you think, only cares what the market is telling you. And we'll take a look at a number of cards and see what we can see. Started off as always, the Mike Trout and a PSA 10 grinding sideways. We had this compression and the breakout was very, very positive. So if we can get a couple sales in here and hold this, then that would create some space for this card to go higher and take a lot of those cards that are lesser priced and let them move up as well. But he's compressing. He couldn't hold that. And now it is coming down into an area where there's been a quick buy in the past. We'll see if people are willing to scoop that up. The last four sales were auctioned. I think we had a best offer right in here. So prefer the auction prices, which did hold right in this range here. So we'll see how that goes. This could be a one-off. But again, Mike Trout, if you're a collector, you should maybe have one in some sort of a grade here. It doesn't have to be the 10 or anything like that. But not a decent amount of interest, but this thing isn't rocketing up or anything like that. There are cards that are more relevant currently, so this may present a good opportunity right now. But if you're looking for that quicker hit, there may be a better places to look here. Bowman Chrome Draft PSA 10. This is the just the base card, not the refractor or anything like that. Trending down, but coming off the bottom of the range and reclaiming this level of support here. So if you are looking for something with a little more juice to it in the Mike Trout world, this may be one of those cards. All right, Bryce Harper, front leg up, PSA 10, top of the range here, looking for a little move off of the area of resistance, and we are getting that here. So there's been some buying in this area, so we're probably coming up into an area where people are willing to buy it. If it does break down, you can see how quickly it gets snapped up in this area historically. So again, maybe there is a lower price, but I think people will jump on that one relatively quickly if it does happen again. Topps update. This is the running version or the screaming version or something like that. He's motoring. So saw him at potential support, and now he's getting a little pop off of that one here. So lots of buying in this area here. Once you get down to this area, it does tend to get snapped up. So this is your trend for now, slightly lower left to upper right. So, but again, a lot of interest in here. So as far as a collapse out of the range, we'll see, because it does get picked up pretty quickly when that does happen. People are starting to realize what he's capable of here. So Shohei Ohtani, PSA 10, the base pitching. Looking for a move off of this. You had your uptrend and it was broken, so you just look for some sort of retest, and that's kind of your sell here. So did move a little bit higher, but the volume is thinning out quite a bit here, so maybe it gets a little bit of news on the MVP front here, but could be largely irrelevant for the rest of the offseason here until the springtime picks up. So the trend is longer term, no longer up. It is down, and anything you get in terms of moving up to the top of the range is probably for selling. So, but right now looks interesting enough, because there's some news coming out that could benefit him. Vlad Guerrero Jr. Topps Chrome, bottom of the range here. So we've got support in the $150 area here, sitting at $177. So it's really been kind of cut in half from that $330 area here. So we'll see if buyers are willing to step in this spot here. But he's out of the playoffs. He's not getting an MVP, and so there could be a little bit more downside. Now below 150, you're looking at $100 card or less or something like that. So be careful with it if that's what you're looking for, or just do what I do and say, yeah, I want these cards, but I'm gonna buy a lesser grade or a raw or something like that, because I don't care about the flip or anything like that. But if you do care about the flip, then your risk reward sets up pretty favorably here. But be aware that 150 could happen very quickly as well. The no number. It did break his trend here, so finding a level of support. But again, this one is also 350 down to currently 210, so that one's been sliced down nicely as well. So you can look at this is the pink versus the no number here, and the relative performance, and the pink has slightly outperformed over time here, and it's coming into an area where it may start to outperform again. So what we're looking for, if you like a card and it's in kind of an uptrend, you want to add beta, okay? So you want to add a little juice to it, and that's where the refractors and things come in. And so you can see some areas here where we've had the pinks outperform, and that's when the cards are doing really, really well. And it seems when the card is not performing well, then the paper is the outperformer. Those refractors are really kind of volatile, and they get moved around a lot. There's fewer of them. there's, so it's easy to overcome them with demand, but it's also, higher prices, and so you may not have that level of demand as they get, kind of as they enter a kind of a downtrend. So, but when the refractors are outperforming, then you can look for the card to do pretty well. But when those things start to underperform, then people are maybe trade down to the base, so there's not as much interest in those refractors here. So right now we could see a nice pop out of Vlad as those refractors are in an area where they've started to outperform once again. So if that made sense. So anyways, when things are up, you want to add juice and leverage. When things are down, don't add leverage. When things are down, then you want to play it a little bit safe. So all right, Juan Soto Chrome update. Bottoming process, looks like it here, but the uptrend was broken, so this was kind of your chance to get out. And then in this area, lots of buying, and so we're seeing that again, lots of accumulation here. But now you're at an area where there's some resistance, former support, now it's resistance. Rejected in the past here, rejected here, support here, rejected. We're at it again, so we'll see if it can bust out or if it's going to get rejected. And you are sitting at this kind of this confluence of this downtrend and this horizontal resistance area here. So it's going to take a lot of buying pressure. 10,000 on that population is going to take a lot of energy to really push that thing up. So risk reward in the short term, at least, really kind of feels like it's not in your favor, but I think people are kind of looking for this thing to come back, and they'll buy it up quickly. So end of the road, probably not here. Bowman Chrome, the autograph, the big one here. So uptrend broken, but found a little bit of support just below and rifled up to the top here, but that volume is really thinning out, and so rejected here, and it's difficult to say where does that next sale come in. This is the raw version here, so one person or one person. So risk reward kind of unfavorable, but if you look historically, this is a spot where there has been buying in the past, but again, that volume is really thinning out here, so it's tough to say one way or another. Tatis Topps Chrome refractor downtrend intact here, and again, you see the volume really thinning out as that volatility is coming in here, so tough to say one way or another what's going to happen. So lots of buying in this area, and we're kind of there again, but it's very, very thin, so difficult to say what is going to happen on this one here, but I think you could see some accumulation and a run back towards the top. Again, this was kind of a low volume move. Whenever you hit these things, it is kind of a quicker hit here, but our millions, hundreds of thousands of years of ingrained psychology, the people are just kind of picking this up without knowing that that's a good spot to pick it up, so it's very quick. So but this is probably more normal level, and it looks okay here, but again, that longer term trend is down, and so if you do get a pop, then it's for selling if that's what you're into. The pink as well, breaking down out of the supports area here, but it's at the bottom of the range here, and so it seems like that risk reward sets up pretty favorably, and that could be good for his cards overall, to get those refractors to kind of just to go up a little bit here. So all right, a refractor that's done really well this week is the Corey Seager, best player in the league over the past couple of weeks in the playoffs, will be relevant, but this one went from about $117 up to $270. There's where you're at right now on one sale. So I'm a big Corey Seager fan. I've been buying, and hey, look, I've got a smile on my face, but even I'll say this is probably too fast, and you may want to wait for a little better spot on that particular card. All right, Cody Bellinger looked alive, looked competent in the playing game here, so we'll see if he can get it going a bit in the playoffs. And so my theory is just he's hurt, and with an offseason he could heal himself, and maybe that process is starting. That would be a good sign here. So lots of buying in this area right around that $100 level, but it quickly broke down. But there's accumulation again, so people feel that there's a good price. Anything under $100 is making way up, and if he does anything in the playoffs, then you could make a move up. Now you've got some resistance in this area here, so be respectful of that, but seems like a pretty decent spot for a player who is still young, has produced, and if he's got a healthy season next year, could do it again for sure. Rafi Devers, love him at $60, don't like him at $100 roughly. So didn't know if we'd get another shot down at 60, but we did, and so people wisely picked it up, and so that's been supported in the past, and so here you are again, $70. So again, if he does, if he finds his batting stroke in the in the playoffs here, we could see a further move from that $70 up to 90 or 100. So risk reward is somewhat favorable here on this card. Again, keep that 60 in the back of your mind if you see it again. But for now, this could be worth a rip here if if he and his team are able to do a little something here. And the pink refractor, bottom of the range. So a good sign overall. If this is able to hold, we do get buying coming in for the rest of those refractors, leaving the base in the dust. Alex Bregman, longer term trend broken, and continues to grind lower, but finding some support at the bottom of the range here. Houston's in the playoffs. I've liked him, and the market's telling me I'm wrong to like him. So we'll see how that plays out. But the risk reward sets up favorably, but it is a downtrend until it isn't. But if he is able to, he's been playing all right, and so if he can get it going in the playoffs a little bit, then maybe there's some love here. So the risk reward does look good, but it isn't a downtrend. And if you're able to get right around that $75 or something like that off of the current $50 price or whatever, you may want to cut bait on that one here. So if it breaks this, then that's a good sign here. But for now, it is a downtrend in a trading range here. So all right, Topps Chrome Luis Robert Refractor. Again, kind of grinding sideways here. Anytime you get to the bottom range, it is a quick move here. So this is more of your price where this is at, and it's getting a little bit of love in this area here. If it makes its way back up to a couple $100, then that is worth a sell. But if he really lights it up in the playoffs, he's been playing terrific, then you could see these spikes here and make its way back up to $250, $300 card or something like that. So but yeah, the risk reward again, like it toward the bottom of the range here, but these do happen pretty quick. Not sure if you get it there. So this looks like a kind of a decent-ish enough price. So longer term, at least intermediate, I like them, and in the playoffs short term, sure, why not? But you are closer to that risk reward being a little bit unfavorable. So I'm neutral on it right now, but I do favor upside. That's what my gut tells me. What the math tells me, what the charts tell me is that you don't listen to my gut. So Clayton Kershaw, his team's in the playoffs. He's not in the playoffs. He's not going to be thrown in the playoffs at least here. So longer term, uptrend broken. And this is the PSA 9. So we're continuing to grind lower here. And this is a card that I would like to have because he is a Hall of Famer. I'm not interested in the 10 or about 10 or anything like that, but I'd be very happy with this one. And so while it continues to grind lower, I'm going to really hope that it gets down to, currently sitting at $250. If it can get to, if it gets into this area, which is, 150-ish or something like that, I would be very happy to have that. So I don't know if it gets there, but I'm going to watch this one a little bit more closely for now. Ronald Acuna Jr. Again, you're another guy teams in the playoffs, but he's not in the playoffs. So this is the bat down version in a PSA 9, and it is compressing, and there's lots of accumulation here, and that is a good sign overall. So we'll see what happens, but so sitting at a line of support, but we're coming up on resistance, so we'll see if it can just grind its way. If it breaks out, it doesn't mean it's going to rocket back up or anything like that, but if it can just grind its way sideways, that's a good sign, breaking the downtrend. You can do that just by going sideways too. So, but like Acuna, his prices have come back to an area where it's like, okay, interesting enough. Ozzie Albies, his teammate who will play in the playoffs here, sitting around $42 for a PSA 10 Chrome. And so $40 with upside to call it, let's see, well, what is that high price? $90 or something like that. So call it like $85, $85, something like that. So risk reward sets up favorably if he's able to do anything in the playoffs. He had a decent year, All-Star. So, but is he the type of player that's really going to stand out and just completely light it up? He can do it for stretches at a time, and if that stretch happens in the playoffs, then things rocket up. But the risk reward sets up pretty favorably for Ozzie Albies, and I think longer term doesn't hurt to have shares of him. All right, football. Tom Brady, Bowman Chrome base PSA 10. Downtrend is broken, and the uptrend is doing just fine here. So we had him at the top of the range last week and said, look for him to come back a little bit, and we're getting that. But there's buying in here. There's still interest. And the trend remains up on that particular card. So, all right, Patrick Mahomes, Prism, Silver. I think you only had the Silver, so no choice on that one. So, a lot of accumulation in here. So it's a slow grind lower, and your risk reward again when you come down a little bit, it's quickly picked up. So there's lots of buying right in this area here, that $9,000 level. So that's an expensive card, but there seems to be plenty of interest for him at least. So anything down in here is going to be quickly bought up. For the most part, if you see a lot of sales down here, then that's kind of your new price range like this. So, but once it starts to kind of bat around a little bit, this is kind of your area here. So it seems like that's the price for now. But we'll just kind of pay attention to that one here. Breakout would be positive, but we are not there yet. although he had a good week, and this guy had a good week as well. So take a look at a few players here that have had favorable weeks on the gridiron. And Prism Silver PSA 10 for Tyreek, sitting at $286 here. So this is an area that accumulation is starting to pick up at a decent level of potential support. Has been kind of batted around, but in the past when you've seen these quick accumulations, it has led to a pop. Doesn't always happen, but your risk reward is favorable for right here, and you're seeing some accumulation, so could be a quick pop. And I don't know if you're fast enough to sell into these, which one transaction up here, so you may have all these people looking for that, and if only one buyer is willing to step in at this price, then some people are going to be kind of left in the dust here, and it's going to come right back here. But it does set up favorably if you are fast. Tom's Chrome, Derek Carr, base with the ball. So PSA 10, we are at the top of the range. So I'm sorry, Vegas Dave. So you had a good call here, but hopefully you're taking some profits. So it's coming off the top of the range there. Sam Darnold, base PSA 10, downtrend broken, and quick move back into the range here, but another quick move to bring you back out of the range. So we are holding on to the outside of that range here. So we've got a slight uptrend, and he is playing pretty darn well. So base PSA 10 Prism for $157. Seems like a pretty good price for competent quarterbacks. All right, Devos Samuel PSA 10. Wow, terrific season. So bottom of the range, quickly getting bought up now. Now we're starting to see a lot more interest in this card here. Haven't really seen this before, so a lot of people are on board. If he keeps doing what he's doing, this PSA 10 base Prism for $70. I mean, that seems like a pretty good price. Could go higher here, but your risk reward, your upside around $85-90, your downside sitting around $50. So you're closer to the upside than the downside. But with what he's doing here, wouldn't surprise me if he busts out. But for the time being, closer to the top than you are to the bottom. All right, Jalen Hurts, top 10 quarterback. I've liked him in the past here, so as long as you outline your risk reward, so you're at a level where people have bought this thing before, so $185 or something like that, $180. If you make your way back up to $300, $350, that's where selling comes into play as well. So it's very thinly traded. So, but kind of keep that in the back of your mind. You buy it at $170, $180 and sell it $300. So that's where we are at for now here. But that's a top 10 quarterback. He looks pretty darn good here. So all right, Dak Prescott looks competent as well, but he's coming up on an area of resistance where selling has happened in the past. So a lot more accumulation here. People are a little more relieved to see him playing pretty well and healthy, but he is at the top of the range here. So unless he can break out and hold it, your risk reward is unfavorable. Baker Mayfield, not having a good week or a good year here. So below 400, said you don't want him, and he continues to grind lower, sitting sub 300 now. So now he's getting kind of interesting, I suppose. And you get down to 250, I guess. So, but he'll have to play well to really get those numbers coming up. So new lows, kind of your proverbial falling knife. And again, your guess is as good as mine on. Well, my guess is probably just a little bit better. No, I'm kidding. We're all friends here. So new lows. It's really difficult to say where support comes into play. A lot of buying in here, but there's a lot of buying in here as well. But again, below 400 looks like you're coming back on in this area, and we are quickly heading there. So all right, Terry McLaurin, scary Terry, mostly for opposing defenses. He's having there's another top 10 guy overall here. So you have your bottom of the range, top of the range, and kind of heading down in an area where there's been buying in the past here. Lots of buying in this area. People saw this as a really good deal, and it was, and they got a nice move, and maybe they're selling to these people right here. So again, starting to pick up just a little bit here in the way he's playing. Could see some higher prices, but this is another one where it's like, okay, here's accumulation, but the prices went down. So for this one, little less confident in what happens on some of these here. But right now, it's sitting in an area where it's like, okay, there's been buying in the past. This seems interesting on nothing. He's really, $83. He and Deebo, they look pretty good. And those prices are they seem cheap, but they could be cheap for a reason. I don't know here. So 2003 Euro basketball, Topps Chrome LeBron G, still kind of consolidating here. So when he gets a spike, it's quickly met on these low volume things. But there's been a lot of buying in this area here, so we're probably just going to grind sideways for a little bit. Season starting up pretty quick here, so if he can come out of the gate, then we could see a very nice breakout. Luka Doncic, this is the Prism Silver. So the regular Prisms still kind of grinding sideways. They look boring. I don't want to keep saying the same thing every week, but the Silver, broken down trend. And we're getting a little bit of love here. So, the trend remains up on that one. So, if you say I want a Luka and I've got, $6,000 or something like that, maybe this is the way to go. All right. And Luka Donka, the silver, the PSA 9, it's like, all right, I don't have $6,000, but I've got 1,700 or something like that. So, the 3-to-1 ratio looks intact on this one here, and he seems to be in the bottom of the range. And again, the trend remains up on this one. So not just grinding sideways like the regular base. Giannis. Okay, we have to look at the regular base here because the silvers, they're doing well, but there hasn't been a sale for a while, and there's very few transactions. So the more data, the better. So sometimes we make sacrifices. The trend remains up here. Top of the range, bottom of the range, contending with this area of resistance here, getting rejected from it a couple times now here, but we're closer to an area where it's been picked up. So I think the risk reward sets up favorably, but you can look at this as some sort of consolidation where it's just got to make up its mind which way it wants to go. So this is good, this is bad, and right now, again, the trend remains up, and you're nearer to the bottom of the range. Durant refractor out of $14.99, $27,000 if you're looking for this one. Broke this down for Will a while back. So, buddy, did you ever pick one of these up here? So, starting to get a little bit more love. High price card, but it is longer term. This goes back a ways here. Getting a bounce off that bottom end of the trend and moving up just a little bit here, getting a few more people involved with a very high end KD. John Morant hollow. Again, the base kind of not doing a whole lot here. So here's your downtrend, here's your uptrend, here's your downtrend, and now we are in a continued uptrend. So we've got a little bit of resistance here, and it is clearing that, which is a good sign, and maybe it can make its way back up to an area where there has been not a lot of market memory in here, but there is some at $1,000, and so. Sitting at 860, perhaps there's a little bit more upside. Maybe that's where it wants to go. LaMelo, Prism. Again, these base cards, they all look the same. They're just not doing a whole lot here, and this one is no different. That's the raw, though, not the graded. So, but yeah, it's bottom of the range here, and he came at a time when it's a little cost prohibitive to do a whole lot of grading these days, and they're really, really slow. So you see a lot more raws here. So seems like the bottom of the range, but how much love it gets, tough to say here. All right, a little bit of hockey, and we'll wrap this up. Ovechkin, PHC 10, Young Guns at 2005 here. Top of the range coming off just a little bit here, but a lot of buying in this area here. So I don't know if it goes down too much here, but rather see something in an uptrend if you're going to put your money to work here. Connor McDavid, PSA 10. A lot of accumulation at the bottom of the range here. Looking for a move up, and we got it, and we're coming off just a little bit here. So we've got these areas of quick selling here, and it's quick selling again. So we'll see what happens with this one, but risk reward is not favorable in the near term. And Kirill Kaprizov, again, a lot of raws here, and this one just came out, so not a lot of grading here. So downtrend is intact, coming off of the top of the range here, but in an area where there's been a ton of buying, and so that's kind of your price if you're able to get them for $80-$90 or something like that. Looks pretty good here with the season coming up here and his new contract, and he's going to be the face of the Wild. Could see some lift off of that particular card. And we'll finish up with Blastoise, who continues to grind his way lower. Anytime you get to the bottom of the range, it is quickly snapped up, and at the top of the range, usually you see some fast selling, but now you're seeing a lot of accumulation, so there's a lot of interest in this area here. So love to see it bust up and out, and then you know that you're in a better uptrend here. But for now, risk reward is not favorable, but again, anything lower is going to get picked up pretty quick, so be fast if that's what you are looking for. That's what I got for you. Thank you for watching. If you like this, hey, I got triple digit views on this thing last week, so thank you very much. That's exciting. So you keep doing that, I'll keep making it. Otherwise, have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.